We've all seen the headlines, AI is taking our jobs. But what if the real story here isn't about machines or code? What if it's about how the US handles job protection and how that's failing large swathes of US job workers, including tech, delivery, retail, right now? Now today I want to show you what's really going on, what's beyond the headlines, and why the US especially is vulnerable regardless of AI, and what that means for you as a front-end developer or freelancer. So let's go take a look. Now the scope of this problem isn't just tech. A lot of the layoffs we're seeing right now are being framed as AI driven or tech based. But if you look a little closer, UPS alone is cutting around 48,000 jobs as a big move for cost cutting. They're closing down 93 separate facilities and shifting business models entirely. And definitively, this is not one of those cases where AI is purely replacing drivers or staff members at UPS, obviously. But whenever you see articles about all these layoffs because of AI, they always include the UPS stats in there, which is just fantasy. However, we've seen companies like Microsoft, Amazon, and other tech companies doing mass layoffs in the year. And again, they are claiming that these are AI related as well. But in reality, what this is a problem with labor protection laws in the US, and not just the robots are coming to get you. Now here's the big policy difference. In many US states and companies, employment is largely at will. And what does that mean? Well, it means workers can be dismissed for almost any non-illegal reason, with little required process or justification. Now in many European countries there is a just cause, or stronger collective bargaining and regulatory framework. They also have bigger notice periods, higher severance amounts, and stronger challenge rights. So we can already tell there's quite a big difference how staff are treated in each one. One article put it this way, that big tech is finding out the hard way that abrupt mass layoffs are much more difficult to pull off in Europe. And what that means is that in the US, companies feel freer to just restructure on the fly, automate and downsize very, very quickly. And the labor market in general is just far more less protected in the US. So even when AI or automation isn't the primary driver for why people are being laid off, the weak protection laws for people who work in the States means massive job cuts hit harder and faster than, let's say, in Europe. Now I'm not saying that Europe has a better job market than America. Americans generally get paid 3 times more, at least in tech, than they do with their European counterparts. So there are pros and cons, but in this perspective, we're talking about mass layoffs, there's not a lot of protection at all. And that's why you see this as a phenomenon more in America than you do, like, say, somewhere in Europe. Now let's be clear, whilst AI and automation can be a part of the story, in many of these cases, the drivers are cost cutting to satisfy shareholders. That's a big one. Efficiency drives, facility closures, and shifting to higher margin business models. And one of the last ones which gets thrown a lot is overhiring during the pandemic. And now we're in a time period of consolidation. Just because borrowing is less favorable, interest rates are higher than they were years ago, so people are less eager to increase their wage bill, because there's a lot more uncertainty in the market. And we know that because of the wide breadth of companies that are closing, ones like UPS, which are closing facilities. We've noticed a drop in Amazon business. Now UPS, let's take them as an example, cited that one of the big reasons for their layoffs were the need to close facilities, a drop in Amazon business, and just in general shifting to higher margin services that make more money for them. And the AI part of it gets attached much later as something that they are possibly doing, but they get lumped in with all the mass layoffs as well. Whenever you see the AI articles that, oh, mass layoffs are happening because of AI, UPS gets thrown in as well, and other companies like that, which is obviously just not true. Also, a lot of the layoffs right now are happening in corporate. A lot of the middle management, the support roles, and just corporate in general. So the problem isn't AI replace my job today, it's that the entire system allows a company to cut large swathes of people from their jobs with very minimal friction. So what does this mean for you, front-end developers or freelancers out there, or full-stack developers? Even with all of this, the demand for front-end, web, UI, UX, freelancers is still going very, very strong. And how do I know that? Well, companies still need humans to build, design, and iterate over real-world problems. Automation hasn't replaced that, LLMs haven't replaced that, agentic AI has not replaced that, and no AI has successfully replaced a human in tech right now, because it just isn't possible to solve these problems, and it doesn't scale with the problems that senior software engineers have to solve at much larger companies. Now, if you are someone who's delivering value in the shape of clean code, user experience, reliability, good communication, you are officially a part of the hard to automate category. And that's something I tell my students a lot. You have to be hard to automate. You have to be difficult to replace. So you go above and beyond, and you make sure you are well-rounded, and you learn your soft skills. You learn all the skills around which make your role much better. Now, in a labor market with weak protection laws, you've actually got more opportunity. Companies will outsource, contract, freelance rather than to commit full-time. That right there is a chance and an opportunity. So what I would advise is to focus on solid fundamentals, communication, client-facing skills, and being able to integrate with teams and understand how to speak to non-technical members of a company, as well as communicate your technical ideas within the technical team. But soft skills are getting more and more important in this field, so that is something to be aware of. So to summarize, yes, layoffs are big in 2025 in the States, but no, the stories of AI taking jobs in 2025 is missing the point. The bigger issue in the US are labor market protection laws, with weak protection, at-will employment, and big room for companies just to cut large swathes of staff just like that without warning. Now, if you're building a front-end career or a full-stack career, that means you're not waiting for the apocalypse, you're positioning yourself for the opportunities that lay before you. For example, for our students, this has been one of the best hiring season. We've had 4 full-stack devs hired literally just within 7 days, and we continue to get students 3 interviews in a week in some cases, and some students have gone on to get $3,000 projects, $12,000 projects in freelancing within just a few months of knowledge. And that is the market we're in. So when we see headlines out there that say AI is replacing certain skill sets or developers and jobs, it just doesn't meet reality. And unless you're in the trenches and you're actually working as a senior software engineer, or you're applying for jobs right now, you won't see these things. You just see the headlines and assume that's the truth. So until the day we get full-blown AGI, artificial general intelligence, and truly autonomous systems, which we're not there yet, by the way, people who can build, communicate, and deliver will still win out. So I hope that was useful. Please leave a like on the way out, guys. It always helps, and subscribe. But otherwise, thank you for watching.